One of the analysts that I respect most in this industry thinks Auburn could go on a run in 2026.
You are Locked On Auburn, your daily podcast on the Auburn Tigers. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Yes, welcome on into Locked On Auburn, your daily Auburn Tigers podcast. I'm your host, Zach Blackerby, and thank you so much for making Locked On Auburn your first listen every single day. Brian Smith, host of The Portal, that's Locked On's recruiting and transfer portal and NIL show. Goodness gracious, what a few months span he's about to have. He's joining me today. We'll talk about Auburn's signing class and his overall thoughts and some of the things that Alex Golesh said earlier this week about the class I thought was unique and honest and correct. Get Brian's thoughts on that, as well as the reported transfer departures that are already kind of coming out there for Auburn. But Brian, just in conversations, it sounds like you've got a podcast on this coming up as well. You believe, now sure, things have to fall into place, but you believe Auburn is a team that is a candidate that could go on a surprise run in 2026.
That is 100% correct. And despite the fact that I would love to tell everybody that you're the one that's putting me up to this is actually my own thought process. And well, you know, I'm not going to completely throw you under the bus, but the point is very simple. The defense is legit. They've got a quarterback situation. I expect Byrum Brown to end up at Auburn. And if he doesn't, you got Deuce. Like either way, that's pretty darn good. I think the best news is the expected transfer of Jackson Arnold. Just nothing against him, just get that out.
Yep.
The running back room could get a little better, tight end room, etc. But like they've got more pieces on the offensive line than they've had since when coming back. When was the last time they had this many pieces coming back on the offensive line, Zach? It's been a minute.
Well, I mean, probably last year. I mean, we got to see what happens with Connor Lew, like the injury situation. But
yeah,
there's going to be pieces that return. But they brought back so much last year, but I don't know if all of that was a net positive. I think it's going to be good to kind of get some new bodies in there. So that's kind of a tricky position, if I'm being honest with you.
Yeah, but I like the young guys that they got. They got a certain freshman from the state of Oklahoma that I think is going to push the pile, DeAndre Carter, some other guys that I just think have a chance. That Auburn hasn't had that kind of depth from the young guys to push forward. And if the O-line just takes even a smaller steps forward, like you got a running back that's a 1,000-yard guy that nobody talks about.
Yeah.
Trevor Cobb's pretty good. They should be even better next year. Omar should be your power back. The receiver room should be grotesque. Like I could have my mom calling plays and they should score 30 a game.
Well, so, I mean, you said that last year and Hugh Freeze found a way to mess that up. So Alex Golesh, though, I mean, everything I've seen about him so far is so calculated, and all of the like perceived weaknesses in the Freeze era, which was a total lack of attention to detail and a total inconsistency when it comes to communication. I don't think that's going to be an issue with Golesh based off of, he's been here 10 days or whatever, right? Like we've got time to figure all that out and see if it's actually as good as it seems and if he checks those boxes. But it does seem to be a pretty decent starting point. And look, let's give credit where credit is due. Galesh is coming into a much better situation than Hugh Freeze did. We can all poke, and point at Hugh Freeze. Like, he did find the roster. He left the roster better than he found it. And we all should be thankful for that.
100%. The roster is in way better shape. The worst thing that he said that was also true is this is a 3-year process to even get it to where it needs to begin. And that's where they are now. Unfortunately, he was correct. He still didn't do a very good job of coaching it, but the roster is immensely better. My question is now which guys are going to be the ones to take the biggest steps forward, but you at least have options.
But let's tilt this back to, all right, you think Auburn can make a run in 2026. What has to fall into place for that to happen? I mean, let's start with quarterback, right? What does that need to look like?
Well, I mean, if it's Byrum Brown, it's plug and play. He has to stay healthy, but that's a guy that ran for 1,000 and threw for 3,000. What is it? 5,000?
And you have Byrum Brown and Deuce Knight on the same roster. Is that possible?
You could. I don't know how that works exactly, but I think Deuce would have been gone already if it wasn't possible. There's no way that conversation hasn't taken place between the head coach and Deuce. Zero.
Assuming that's the intention. Assuming
Right.
bringing Brown with him is the intention.
Yeah, like Brown would already have just randomly, in my opinion, announced that he's going to the portal with his head coach leaving and with him having one more year of eligibility. No offense, but USF is not a P4 program. He's going to go play somewhere. Why not play in the offense that you were dominant in, not have to learn a new scheme, make a lot of money, and play in the SEC? Like, there's really not any reason to think it's not Auburn. If it's not.
Looking at his tape, Brian, I mean, he can do so many different things. He had the throws. He had runs where he was elusive. And then I think it was a game against Florida where they just use him as like a power back, just like lowering the shoulder. I mean, he can do so mmany different things.
He's 230 for those that don't know. He's a big boy.
He's all of 230. Like, it's just, I mean, he just has power behind him when he runs.
Yeah, he's not much fun to try to tackle. That's a large tailback who is also your quarterback. I'm not saying he's Tim Tebow. There's only one of those, but he's Tim Tebow light.
If you think Alex Golesh had to pick, this is totally hypothetical.
Oh boy.
Do you go with Alex does Alex Golesh go with the guy that he knows? And Byrum Brown is like, I want to win this year. I need a higher floor. I need what I know. Or do you go with Deuce, a guy who has every bit of everything you want to run this offense, this system? Massive arm, athleticism. He can lower his shoulder too. They're different runners. They're different type athletes, but they're both very, very physically gifted, slightly different ways, but still both guys that you want as in your quarterback room. If you think he had to pick, and this is me putting you on the spot and it's 100% hypothetical, but if you think he had to pick, which one would he go with?
I'd say Brown because coaches have no patience. I don't know Alex.
Yeah. I love that Galesh does not seem to have patience. The quote of we're in a race against ourselves. They want to be good right away. And with the resources and the roster that he is walking into, you just got to hold it. You've got to hold the roster together. And he knows it. I mean, he's only talking, spoke to the media publicly twice in 2 pressers, and he's been very consistent on what his priority is. And that's keeping the roster together. Because he knows if he keeps the roster together and he calls plays like he did at Tennessee and had an offense like he did against South Florida, you can win double-digit games next year.
Well, that's the thing. Like, here's the other part of that. You need a quarterback that's going to walk in ready. Like, Deuce, my guy. I know him. He's a good guy. But he hasn't been the starter. Cam Coleman's going to be at Auburn one more year. You know what I mean? Like, those kinds of players. Well, we hope. Assuming. That offense, Jeremiah Cobb, et cetera, next year's offense, assuming they just got to fix tight end and a few, intricacies like you were talking about O-line. Could they score 35, 38 points a game? Absolutely. There's no reason they couldn't.
And with this defense, man.
That's what I'm saying. Well, that's part of it, though.
Yeah.
The defense is good enough. They're top 20 by about any metric next year. In a lot of categories, they could be top 12, like sacks, et cetera. And I know they're going to lose Falk, but they got other guys coming up. They're to the point. I'm not saying you're going to replace Falk with one dude, but overall, they might have more defensive talent with the year in the weight room with some of these young guys.
Yeah.
It'll just be different players making plays. Who cares? So
right. Yeah. And like, I think Amaris Williams is probably a guy we're not talking enough about. I'll probably do a pod like solely on him between now and when the portal opens about how important he is. But I mean, just to push back on, Auburn being able to make a run in 2026, which, that I hope you were so right. Well, this is the opponents. For folks watching on YouTube, you can see it audio. Auburn hosts Vandy. You go to Bama, to Georgia. You host Arkansas. You host Florida. You host LSU. To Ole Miss. To Mississippi State. You go to Tennessee, which will be fun for the Alex Golesh Bowl there.
Oh, that's true. I forgot about that.
Yeah. Tough slate. Now, I think you can't argue that some of this seems more gettable than it used to. Like, we'll see what happens with Vandy. With them flipping Jared Curtis, like that's interesting. Arkansas, I don't know what they're doing in Fayetteville. They don't seem to like anything. What happens with Florida, LSU, like, are they going to be ready out of the box with Lane Kiffin? At Ole Miss seems more gettable now than it did, a month ago. At Mississippi State, that one's about the same. And then at Tennessee, we'll see how that shakes out. Like, but still a tough schedule nonetheless.
I think that schedule will be a little bit easier than it originally looks. I'm hearing that DJ Lagway may not be in Gainesville. That's going to be a first-year staff too. They could get, like, for those that don't know, Sam Levitt's getting in the portal. If he ends up in Gainesville, then we have a different conversation. He's the quarterback at Arizona State. If he goes to LSU, that's different, but we got to see where these quarterbacks land.
Yeah.
But overall, except for Bama and Georgia, there's nobody on there that I go, Auburn shouldn't be the favorite, or at least if they're a 3-point dog, whatever, it's a field goal. So LSU's the wild card of all of those by far. Because
and you get LSU at home. Yeah, LSU, Florida, Arkansas, and Vandy at home. That's good. That's a good thing. So
100%.
Brian thinks Auburn, prime spot to make a run in 2026. I'm not pushing back on it. I hope he's right. And I'm sure you hope he's right as well. Some of the transfer departures I've been a little surprised by. Some, it makes sense. And I kind of go back and forth on how important some of them are. Brian, we take a dive into the portal side of things in just a moment, right here on Locked on Auburn. Today's show brought to you by our friends at FanDuel. FanDuel is America's #1 sports book. And look, NFL Sundays move fast. One big play and suddenly everything feels different. That's what makes live betting with FanDuel so exciting. You're not just watching the game, you're reacting to it in real time. With FanDuel, you can place bets as the action unfolds, every drive, every momentum swing, every highlight moment. You do this with the NFL, with the NBA, with MLB when it comes back, college basketball. If you want to get in the middle of the action this season, visit FanDuel.com and place your NFL live bets, your basketball live bets all season long. FanDuel, the game moves fast, and so can you. Thank you so much for making Locked on Auburn your first listen every single day, and making Locked on Podcast Network the #1 sports podcast network. We're rolling out a new thing across the network and would love to have you as part of the Locked on Auburn Everydayer Club. If you sign up, you can get Locked on Auburn with no interruptions, members-only Discord access, and more. Offer just $5 a month or $50 a year. You can go to the link in the episode description down below to sign up. Helps the show out a ton. And we would love to have you there. Brian, a few of the names that have entered the portals, we have this discussion Tuesday afternoon. The one that surprised me the most is Horatio Fields, a guy that we thought kind of raised the floor in this receiver room, and we'll couple him with Perry Thompson. I'm not as shocked by Perry Thompson reportedly planning to enter the portal than I am Horatio Fields, but these are two guys that played similar roles on this offense. Horatio started the season as kind of that wide receiver 3. He goes down, Perry steps up, and then his role kind of stepped back a little bit when Hugh Freeze was fired and Coach Nix was calling the plays, and Malcolm kind of became that wide receiver 3. Am I coping when I say I don't think this is that impactful? I think it impacts the floor of the receiving room, but I think you can find Perry Thompson and Horatio Fields either already on the roster or in the portal.
I don't think either one of them were impactful enough at Auburn to be overwhelmed by them leaving. It's disappointing in some ways, but I wonder if this is kind of like you're a Patriots guy. If you sign a player and he does well, but did he match the dollars you were paying him? It's not that you didn't want him, but does he match? Perry made a lot of money. I don't know what Fields made, but he was pretty successful at Wake before he came to Auburn. This might be partially money too. You can get more bang for our buck with player A, B, and C at receiver or D, and whatever. They may redistribute that cash to another spot, like tight end. I don't know, but I wouldn't be overwhelmed by it because between them, what'd they catch? 20 passes, 18 passes, something like that. It wasn't a lot. So, I mean, it's not anything I'd be concerned about. If you get Singleton, Simmons, and Coleman returning to the Plains, anything that you get, like they got the freshman Sam Turner, Auburn should be okay with this couple of guys they got coming in. I don't think they're going to be in a bad spot. It's not perfect, but everybody loses players to the portal. Georgia loses players to the portal, for crying out loud.
Yeah, Perry had 17 catches for 154 yards, then Horatio 12 catches for 106 yards.
Yeah, so you didn't have 300 yards of receiving between them. I wouldn't be overwhelmed.
Yeah, I'm with you. Yeah, focus on making sure Cam, and if you could keep Eric Singleton and Malcolm Simmons on the roster, you're fine. You're fine 100%. With it. And, there's been chatter about like Bryce Kane. Does Bryce Kane enter the portal? Like that would make sense. I just think you can backfill all that. I don't think that that's worth it. And we got to think too, like when those guys were added, we kind of called it the suck tax. Like we were so bad that you had to pay guys more, and we might still be
100%
dealing with that. Let me ask you this. I said this on my show yesterday afternoon. I was talking to Ben Taylor. We, when you look at Golesh's offense, his receivers, it's a lot of speed, Brian. It's a lot of speed. Hugh Freeze like those big outside boundary receivers. Is there a chance that this is a scheme thing, a style thing when it comes to Horatio and Perry? Not really speed guys, not really guys who can stretch a defense. Is this a scheme thing for them or for Golesh or mutual? Or am I reaching on that?
I think that's part of it. There's nothing wrong with still having a boundary, but again, that's where that money comes in. If you're going to be the boundary, especially because Cam plays the boundary officially, but like those guys can play flanker or like Cam's going to eat up all those reps. He's going to get 93% or something.
Sure.
So where are you going to play? Because Singleton and Simmons are on there's just not enough reps. So that's part of it. I wouldn't mind to see them bring in another guy that's a veteran for less, that's similar, and take that money again and redistribute tight end, offensive tackle, whatever.
Do you think those two guys reportedly entering helps Auburn with the three guys that we mentioned, Cam Coleman, Malcolm Simmons, Eric Singleton?
Well, that might be part of the redistribution as well. Let's be honest. Name a team, far as whoever you want, that's still in the playoff, et cetera, that has three receivers as good as that returning next year. For the record, Tate is gone at Ohio State. There may not be. 1, 2, 3, because like Bernard at Bama's gone. Ryan Williams will be back, but like not having
Bernard, a lot of chatter he's leaving. There's a lot of chatter he's going to leave.
Yeah, I know. That would be wild.
Be hilarious. Be the funniest thing ever.
I don't think Auburn may have the number one wide receiver group in the country next year.
Yeah, which I mean, we said that. We said that going into it this year.
I like the odds with this coach better. Just throwing that out there.
Yeah, I do too.
A lot better. Not competitive.
And I think whoever's at quarterback will make more sense too. I mean, we had to argue for Jackson Arnold all offseason, right? Of like why it would work. I don't think you'll have to do that if it's Deuce or Byrum Brown.
Yeah.
Or Ashton Daniels, if I'm being honest with you.
To be honest, if that's your third option, you've done pretty well. He threw for what? What was the game? 430 or something? It was some crazy number.
He went off his stat line in the Iron Bowl was awesome.
Yeah, I mean, it's not a quarterback problem. If Auburn doesn't win next year, I will be floored if it's a quarterback problem.
Yeah, I'm with you. Auburn signing class, interesting. Some, to quote Alex Golesh, they got some guys that they didn't think they could get, and they lost some guys that they thought they were going to get. What does that mean? That's next, right here on Locked on Auburn. Today's show brought to you by our friends at Rugiet. Let's talk about something that most men don't like to bring up, but absolutely should. Stress from work, money, life. It just doesn't switch off at night. And when it shows up at the worst possible time, Rugiet Ready is designed to help you take back control. Rugiet Ready is a next generation prescription treatment created to support both the brain and the body so you can feel present, confident, and ready when the moment matters. Rugiet Ready combines 3 clinically proven ingredients and 1 mint that dissolves under your tongue so it absorbs fast. If you've been thinking about taking the next step, Rugiet Ready, it's now the time. Head to Rugiet.com/LockedOnCollege. That is RUGIET.com/LockedOnCollege. Get 15% off your order for a limited time. Rugiet Ready. Feel present, feel confident, feel ready. Brian Smith, host of The Portal, hanging out with us for a few more minutes here. So signing day has come and gone. And for Alex Golesh to have been here for like 2 days before signing day, I think all things went fine. You had a few flips that I think are impactful. I think you had a few flips and late ads that probably won't be impactful, but like I like the flyers, like especially at quarterbacks. Like, okay, cool. If he can put it all together, yeah, that'd be great. And then a miss that is being perceived as a big deal, and I do think there's some argument to not be. Let's start with the two big wins, in my opinion. Getting Spencer to flip, Saraland elite, a guy who told Golesh, according to him on Monday, like, hey, wanted to play for you, but like South Florida wasn't quite big enough. Now, Auburn is. I can't wait to be, on the stage with you. I mean, this is a guy at Saraland who like broke all of Ryan Williams' records this past year. I mean, he's been electric, been dynamic. And I mean, we're kind of going back and forth on the receivers. Like, this is a guy who I think could play pretty early, Brian.
Route runner, played at a great high school program, good kid, and was kind of ticked that he wasn't ranked higher, especially being from the high school he's from. So that was kind of
3-star from Saraland is like broke Ryan Williams' record. I mean, that's pretty crazy.
By the way, the quarterback coming up the ranks at Saraland is legit. So they got another one.
Okay.
Yeah. Oh, 100%.
Good to know. Good to know.
They're throwing it around, but they know what they're doing. He's been coached. He'll walk in the door more advanced than 99% of the kids out of the high school ranks. So I think he could. He could be on the 2 deep. Obviously, the top 3 are probably going to be pretty hard to surpass, but year 2 is probably a starter.
Yeah, great.
Take that every time.
The other big flip, the Wells brothers.
Yeah.
I mean, pretty impactful, one more than the other. But flipping one of the better defensive linemen from Texas to Auburn, like that's a big deal.
Petal, Mississippi is right next to Hattiesburg. It's a good program.
Yeah.
It's a program that's got a little bit of clout in that state. He's seen what it looks like, and he's 290. He's 6'4", 290. Look, when Texas goes to Mississippi for a defensive tackle, probably a good sign. So, and I liked his film anyway. He was offered by pretty much the entire SEC.
Right.
290, Zach. They don't make a lot of those guys.
290 can move.
Yeah. So he's a year 2 guy that can start, but like Auburn has got 3 really good D tackles, in this past class, and continue to bring them in. A few guys will funnel out of the program, but if you keep hitting this many, you'll be fine. Auburn is going to be one of the best defenses in the SEC for years to come.
Yeah. I mean, that's why you bring back DJ Durkin to kind of keep that going. And I mean, as we've had this discussion, or as we are having this discussion, like they've held on to all of the guys that we assume will be starters next year. Ryan Strader, like, didn't really see the field. I think some of the younger guys behind him are better than him. Like, I'd rather see Blake Woodby, on the field than him next year. So, like, I don't think that's a huge loss. Does impact depth, but I think you can find more of those guys in the portal. So, and then the loss of Jace Matthews, 5-star receiver, very, very good. It sounds like there was some discussion about like injury with him, like a guy who's already had 2 pretty significant knee injuries. And it's like, how much is that worth? Like, what's the certainty there for a 5-star receiver versus like what you could add in the portal? It sounds like that was the discussion that was had. And I mean, I don't have a great argument against it. It would have felt really good to get Jace.
Yeah,
I don't think there's any question about that. But to have questions about him like being healthy for 4 years, like I think that's a reasonable ask.
That's the question. He's a kid that's as freaky as anybody in the country. The catches on his junior film are just unbelievable.
It's incredible. Yeah.
So I get it, but Ole Miss flips him at the end. Maybe Auburn takes that cash and goes and gets a portal receiver. Nick Marsh is available. Good luck with that. But by the way, if he came to Auburn, it would be really gross. There's a lot of different things you could do with that. I'm not really worried about Auburn's passing attack as long as Golesh is your coach.
Yeah.
I would worry more about other positions and invest at an O-line. Like, that's the easy answer. That's what I would do.
Yeah, I think I'm there with you. It stinks because, like you said, his tape is filthy. And it's a guy that you want to like to be making plays at Jordan Hare, but it just won't happen. Which is a shame. Brian, how can people check out everything you've got going on?
Locked on the Portal. Anything going on with especially portal quarterbacks? Locked on the Portal is your pod. just did a very popular Sam Levitt portal podcast. We're going to be talking a little bit more about Auburn and a few other SEC schools in a few days, early next week. Who's losing the most? Who's gaining the most? Portal podcast. Check it out.
Please like the video. Please subscribe, and we will see you next time. This has been Locked on Auburn.